coming to you all this week from the Cherry Blossom Festival. That's something worth applauding in Macon, Georgia. So proud of their town, and they have every reason to be, let me tell you. Today you are going to meet some of your favorite TV stars from the past, Southern style. She played tomboy Ellie Mae Clapham on the smash hit The Beverly Hillbillies. Please welcome Donna Douglas. As the naive and very lovable Gomer Pyle on the Andy Griffith Show, Mayberry RFD, and Gomer Pyle USMC. Please welcome Jim Neighbors. They love you. Now, since we've got Mr. Neighbors, let's welcome Gomer's cousin and best friend, Goober. Welcome, George Lindsay. Different, George. More about that later. She was the beautiful daughter on Petticoat Junction. Welcome the actress who played Betty Jo, Linda Henning. Hey man, not only in the South but all over the country, when we think of country humor today, hee-haw immediately comes to mind. Playing Lulu for 22 years on the hit show. Welcome, Lulu. And last, but not least, this sexy actor, it's all right, I can say it, this sexy actor was the freewheeling, fun-loving Luke Duke on the Dukes of Hazzard. Now that's what I call a Southern welcome, a Southern appreciation. Donna, let's get to, I think, probably the most famous of all the Southern shows, the Beverly Hillbillies. How does a young girl from Louisiana, did I say it right, Louisiana, become Ellie Mae on the Beverly Hillbillies?
Well, I started out that poor little country girl, but then I went to New York, and from New York I went to California, and they tested about 500 girls for the part of Ellie Mae. But the day I went up on it, that night, I was in an automobile accident, and I was put in the hospital for 17 days. While I was in the hospital, they interviewed us. They narrowed the 500 or over to about 6, and had tested 5, and
there you have it.
So 3 days after I got out of the hospital, I had to test for the part.
Are you like Ellie Mae?
Am I like her?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it took a good slice out of my life. They never had to really give me any acting lessons on how to do the part. I did know how to whistle, Sally.
Can you whistle for us?
That was a little one.
Wouldn't be our show if I didn't say that you and Jethro were both out looking for romantic involvements. Was there ever any between you and Mr. Bayer, who played Jethro?
No. No, remember I always beat him up. We wrestled. wrestled a lot, but I always won.
When you're doing a show, and I'm going to ask all of you this as we go along, when you're doing it, did you know how popular the Beverly Hillbillies were? Do you know how popular it was as you were doing it?
No, I don't think. We hit #1, I think, after the 3rd show. And we were #1 for almost 2 years. I mean, we were #1 2 years, dropped to 2nd place maybe once or twice.
But when you're doing it, do you feel it around you? You see, here in the audience, you're feeling what's happening. How do you know when you're talking to a television camera that kind of thing is rolling across America?
Well, it was so new certainly to me, and I think for the most part, it was so new to all of us. And it was so exciting. I think as you traveled a little, you got a little more of the feel. But when you're doing the show, I don't think you realize.
But what happens when you go back home? What do the hometown folks think?
Well, of course, they treat you special. Now I've been home a lot. But it's like the cutest little story I could tell you was when the show, I think, was in the 1st or 2nd year. And you go home. My folks, of course, lived out in the country. And one day I went home, my dad came in from the store, a little store down the street, and he said, you know what? He was so proud. He said, you know what? Somebody called me Jed Clampett. And he was so thrilled.
I think we are going to talk to the 2 gentlemen seated next to you as we go along. All right? We'll be right back. It's your turn.
Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is, swimming pools, movie stars.